going through how that, how that game went overall.
I wouldn't read into that, Dwayne. You're reading into it way too much. I've been going all day, and I'm sitting down enjoying a win. So I wouldn't read into it that way.
Overall, you guys are up 16, not very tight.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing well for the past, they've won 4 in a row. And they've played like that. They have a lot of athletes that can disrupt. And when they're making shots, with Bren and McDermott, our defense in the second and third was pretty good. The first and fourth, that's too many points for the kind of defense that we want to play. Obviously, we did some things or didn't do enough because we let them back in the game, but they forced the issue and they just kept attacking. And there were some key turnovers that led to them getting out in transition. And then we gave up some threes. We were trying to help on the pick and roll, and we left some guys open on the wings for threes. But we did enough to win the game, and that's really important, especially after the emotional week that we had last week, and back to back. And I'm thankful that we had a couple of days of practice to recharge and get some energy back in our legs. But I'm proud of the guys when it got pretty tight. Like, again, there was no panic. We came out and executed, and guys made big shots. Chris was phenomenal. Cam Johnson, the shot he made in the corner and the pass he made to DA, I didn't know where that thing was going. Just glad it made it to his hands. So just grateful for the win.
Two key defensive plays, Crowder forcing turnover, then Chris knocking off.
Yeah, I told Chris, those are plays that not many people can make. Most guys would foul in that situation, but he was able to get his hands on the ball somehow. And then DeJounte couldn't figure out where the ball was, and he clipped it before it went out. But just the awareness not to foul, because I haven't seen the film yet, but somebody was coming right behind him. And so in those situations, you don't want to foul because maybe you get a block shot because the offensive guy doesn't see the defender coming behind him. But it was a big time play by Chris.
Chris seems like he's kind of a master at playing one way for 3 quarters and kind of and then doing something different in that final quarter, as far as the shots he takes, the different things.
Mm-hmm.
Was he like that 10 years ago, or is that something that he's developed since you coached him in New Orleans, just his ability to?
No, he was like that back then. But bear in mind, I got him at like year 6, I think. So he and David West had big time synergy and pick and roll. And Emeka was a dive guy. And so he had a few guys on that team. Bellinelli was a shooter. Jared Jack was on that team. But at the end of games, it was him and David West. We'd run normal offense throughout the game. And then in closing moments, those 2 guys in pick and stay was what I called it, because D West didn't move. He just turned around and Chris would hit him, and he hit a 15-footer like it was a layup, or Chris would come off and get to his mid-range. So, but that happened in the fourth quarter a lot when we were in New Orleans.
Monty, to go back to the steal on Murray, last year we talked about just
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What exactly fuels his ability to do that?
Probably a combination of anger and competitive drive and wanting to make amends for something that happened on the offensive end. I've seen it so many times with Chris, where he turns it over and he goes right back and, steals it back. And it's just a huge play for sure.
Paul Jae Crowder, season high 19 tonight, was working for him, and how big was that on a night where we talked so much about collectively needing guys to step it up just a little bit?
Well, I thought his attacks to the paint were key. We've been talking about him, not always having to take that 3 because 1, he can make it, but 2, teams are trying to run him off the line. And he's been really good at playing in 0.5 the last 3 or 4 games, getting to the basket, shooting his floater. and he also has the ability to find guys. He's just putting it down a lot better and more frequently than he was the first 15 games. And we need it, you know, when you're down as many guys as we're down, you know, you have to figure out ways to generate offense a little bit differently. So that's a different way that we can use to score that we're not typically used to seeing from our team.
You had that drive transition where you didn't get the call and spoke with the ref, and then you got 2 calls later on. Do you feel like that something for a young player where the refs kind of identify like Cam's going to be a guy who's like a physical driver? That's something.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say because then you're delving into a whole different layer of NBA basketball that we kind of know, but we don't want to admit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I like when Jay and Cam and Mikal and Landry are doing that because it takes the pressure off of Chris and Book to have your wings be able to attack the paint. That's who we are. We're a 0.5 team, paint to great. That's what we like to play in. So, but Cam has the ability to get to the paint and finish and find, you know. Against Golden State, he had a really good pocket pass, I think, to JaVale. He has that ability.
Do you think it's adjustment right now for Alfred just getting used to other ball handlers more consistent?
Yeah.
Always having another guy that he needs to kind of balance with.
No doubt. He's got one of the toughest jobs on our team because he never knows when he's going to play. And then when he does play, he's not playing in the role that he's used to since he's been in the NBA. Sometimes we have him off the ball. Sometimes he has it. I thought his defense in the first half gave us some juice. The second team came in and lifted us a bit, and it started with him on the ball. He was hawking their guys and had them at half court a couple of times. But as far as the adjustment for him, I'm sure it's a lot different. And we talked about it a little bit. But, you know, Alfred wants to win. You know, when I talk to him and when I've heard his comments to the coaches, like that's his response. You know, he enjoys winning.
Coach, seeing Wainwright like the time he's played for you,
Yeah.
hasn't been the most effective offensively, but his pressure, like when it comes to defense, is something that I really enjoy seeing. So, what else do you think he brings to the court when he comes into play?
Strength and mass, physicality, and the ability to run over somebody, but more controlled and has a better understanding than I thought. When I watched him in practice and in our drills, you could see that he picks up stuff pretty quickly. He's typically in the right spot on defense, and he has the ability to stay in front of the ball. And, you know, he doesn't play enough to get a shot rhythm. You know, that's pretty tough when you're playing at the end of the, you know, first quarter, and then you might not play again until the end of the third. It's hard to get a shot rhythm, but that's the slot that we had for Dooley, playing for Book or coming in for Book. And that we're not overly concerned about or wanting him to go in and save the day offensively for us. We feel like he can be a really good team defender, and physically he can, you know, put some pressure on the ball.
So Cam Johnson had a tough start shooting
Mhm.
in this game, but that aggression you talked about just in the third quarter and such. Is that what led you to close with Cam?
Yeah, I mean, it was both sides of the ball. I just felt like we needed size when we were switching, because they had, you know, some longer guys out there, but his shooting and the ability to stretch the floor, and I know he's not afraid to take those shots. So I was getting on him a little bit about turning down the one shot he did before he made that shot in the corner. I thought he had another one on the wing, and he drove it. And I was just like, just shoot the ball. Then he came right back, and I think Mikal hit him on a paint to great. He got a shot in the corner.
Execution to an extent, and guys just locking in, making plays. I think That big one was CP's block, is what it would probably be on the stat sheet, but I think he prefers to call it a steal. That was an incredible play, incredible effort, smart, savvy, and it went off of him, gave his possession back. That was huge. Yeah, so yeah, that's what happens, you know. It's predictable outcomes with that one.
You look like you were really struggling with your shot in the first half, but then you obviously still have the confidence to step up and hit maybe the biggest three of the game. Just talk about the progression of the game and your confidence and everything.
Well, I mean, you look at the stats in NBA history, and nobody's made them all. And, you know, sometimes they go in and out, back rim. Some come off the hand funny, but doesn't mean you shouldn't shoot the next one. Doesn't mean you have to think twice about shooting the next one. And coach got on me for passing one up right before I hit that last one. And the games like that, I just got to work through. There's a stretch where I just felt like they were good and it wasn't going down. And those happen. And thankfully, I got some guys that give me some easy ones to get back going again.
Yeah, that steal slash block for Chris, you've seen that a handful of times after that where off the turnover, he seems to
Yeah.
get back somehow. Have you seen anyone have like a penchant for that before? Because it really does.
Nobody as good as him. I remember, you know, watching it closely, and you watch how he does it, you can pick up on it. I know I got a couple of, you know, the bring back swipe downs, and that's straight out of CP's book. He's real crafty. There's a reason he's one of the, you know, all-time steals leaders. There's a reason he's led the league in steals, you know, plenty of times. He's crafty, smart, quick with his hands, and when you watch him do it, it's pretty impressive.
You remember seeing those for the first time with those hands and just like the next level he takes it to and just realizing maybe like practicing against him, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Practice, you know, he's good at getting to the ball, but it's not like it's surprising or anything. That's what he does. It's what he's been doing for a long time. It's just smart. He's really smart. He knows where the ball's going to be. He knows where people put it, dribbling, going up to shoot. That's what he does.
Between the shutdown way back when, and then last year you had some health things, you're able to string together a lot of 50-minute games. It might sound, I don't know, silly, but I wonder if that's a bonus for you this season to be able to kind of start the season out in that way and get some minutes under your belt.
For sure. You know, as the games come quick and there's a lot of them and they're intense. So being able to stay healthy enough to play is big, especially after a condensed off season too. But, you know, we got a really good training staff and a really good strength staff that tries to keep us in top shape and mitigate any injuries or impending injuries that might pop up by just being consistent. So big shout out to them for sure.
Your pass to DeAndre shows that he didn't know where it was going.
Me neither.
When it got there, you take it from
Well, you know, you get unlucky sometimes in the game and other times you get lucky. I guess that was where I applied mine today. But, you know, just trying to get CP out of a jam, going baseline, the clock was winding down, and I know he had a small guy on him. So if the ball could get to his hands, he'd score. The big guy that was on me, I couldn't see what happened after I passed the ball. I look again when the guy passes me, and there's the ball landed up. So just one of those things. I mean, trying to get it to him. And I missed him a couple times in the first half, so I owed him for sure.
After my turnover?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have never turned the ball over first of all.
It's all good.
Hell of a play though.
Just watching a lot of basketball. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, but he's going up, so when he's coming towards you, are you thinking?
Tell them what you just told us. We just talked about it.
What do you think?
You know what it is.
You know everybody go over the top on the Euro step. He guessed it. Swiped up. Hell of a play. He got hands. Top 5 in steals for a reason.
Although the stat sheet says a block, and Cam just said you probably would prefer that to be a steal.
I'll take the win. You put it wherever you want to. Yeah. Just sort of knowing the game and what everybody in the league sort of does, you know, when they're making a Euro step or when you're going up for a layup. And the thing is, DeJounte is a great defender like that too, you know, and knowing how to steal and just tracking the ball.
just from watching you for a couple years now, it seems like for 3 quarters or so, you'll a lot of times play one way, and then in the 4th quarter, it changes up and you're doing something totally, not necessarily good or bad, just different. And is that something you've learned to do over your career, kind of keep them guessing off balance, just offensively, or do you try to do that, or is that the way it works?
I don't know. I mean, over the years, 4th quarter, that's when the game gets a little bit more exciting. And probably the first 3 quarters, it's crazy. You sort of in the game and you're out the game. You're playing like 4 or 5 minute stretches. And so the way that I play, I'm usually always getting guys going. And maybe once I get going, you come out. 4th quarter, a lot of times, depending on how the game going, I get a chance to play for longer stretches. You know what I mean? So you just feel the game out and figure out a way to win.
Yeah, your defensive play on Murray, you haven't kicked the ball. What was that? What were you seeing on that possession that led to that?
I just know he likes to go right to left. He loves the rock step dribble. So I was able to just get a hand on it. I got probably a finger on it. I didn't get much of it, but I got enough of it. And just a big time play, just trying to make a play. It was late in the game, trying to make a defensive stop. It was just winning time at that point.
In the 3rd quarter, you came out really aggressive, taking, I think 4 of the Suns' first 5 shots in that 3rd quarter, or at least in that scoring.
Yeah, he was keeping track.
What was going through your mind coming out of that?
I was a little upset because I had a few roll in and out during the first half. I just knew I was on. I was pretty much on. My shot felt great, and I just wanted to just stay aggressive. And obviously, I was able to get a floater going to get me going, see one go in, and from there, I was able to hit a few. So just trying to stay aggressive. I missed a few early, and that just pissed me off a little bit.
To that point, we've seen you in the Cal putting the floaties on. How much have you looked to, and not add that to your game because you always had it in your game?
I just got to bring it out.
Always had it.
Yeah, I've always had to see. I work at that every day still. I still work at that shot, but I know that's a shot that's a playoff type shot. A lot of times you're not able to get all the way to the rim, especially against a good defensive team. So I'm trying to think ahead. I'm trying to play ahead, and I think that helps our offense. Just open up the court for everybody. Along with myself, but my teammates as well. Just being able to get downhill and make plays for myself and for others. So just take the load off of these guys. Obviously, Book is out, so I'm able to just try to create as much as possible for myself and for my teammates. And this year, I've been trying to focus on the floater.